It literally, the projections also tracking the dot-com bubble
Yeah,
before the real boom.
yeah.
Bitcoin could go to half a million to million. My actual
It's
target right now today is the next boom will take it to a peak of
it
780,000.
it's who are you better off being if you had to choose? Would you be better off being the believer because at least you took the risk and could make a lot of money? Could you make that argument?
What's going on, guys? K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having an excellent day today. So the moment has finally arrived, and yes, we did in fact get that confirmation. You can see right here, we do in fact have the golden cross on the daily. So a lot of people were asking me, why are you saying death cross? Other people are saying golden cross. It's happening on two different time frames, guys. So this is the short-term time frame. On the shorter term, you have the 50 moving above the 200. This is bullish. This is a golden cross. On the weekly, you have the opposite happening, right? The weekly is a longer-term time frame. Now, you're probably asking yourself, so what does this all mean? And you know what? I've actually had a while to think about it, and I do want to explain in this video the significance of this happening in the short term, but there is something specifically that I do want to talk about. There's a very interesting key metric that I kind of accidentally stumbled upon while I was analyzing this chart, and there is something that's happening right now that is a little bit worrisome. Now, I'm not trying to freak anybody out or spread any FUD. It's just something that I saw happen back in 2017. I saw it happen again in the run-up when we had the fake out pump in 2019, right? So I'm kind of seeing that happen again, and I want to offer a word of caution, especially if you are a new investor to cryptocurrency. If you're an OG, you probably already know about this. Now, I do want to talk about an incredibly bullish case for Bitcoin, which I still do believe in, but at the same time, there also is something that we need to talk about because there are going to be a lot of incredible opportunities, and I'm talking about like right now, opportunities to make a lot of money in cryptocurrency, but ultimately there is something we should be very, very concerned about, and I do have a video today that I want to analyze and play, so I do highly recommend you guys stay all the way to the end of this video because I do want to discuss the significance of that, and you know, there are still people calling for these crazy low Bitcoin prices, saying Bitcoin needs to go below 10,000, down to 3,000. Now, right now, that seems impossible, right? It seems completely unlikely considering how much of a percentage increase that we've had. But let's look at some previous sort of statistics and see how that would actually play out. So guys, lots of stuff in today's video. I highly urge, if you're not interested in the tech, just go, or the technical analysis, just skip to the end. Lots of stuff we're covering today. So if that sounds good to you, you know what to do. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed, guys. We have a lot of great content coming out in the upcoming weeks. And also tomorrow, I'm doing a special live stream, but you're going to have to stick around to see with who and where at. And it's not on this channel, it's on a different channel. So if you're interested, make sure you turn on that bell notification. So as you guys can see right here on the chart, we are sitting below this parallel channel right here. And, you know, it is acting as a bit of resistance. Now, this is the first time that we've actually sat below it for this long. Each other time, we knew this was a great opportunity to take a long. You can even argue up here if you wanted to, you know, test it with the short, even though you would be fighting the trend. That would have been great opportunity. Now, theoretically speaking, you know, this is another area to be longing, but the problem is now we have the bottom band acting as that resistance, which it was acting as support, right? And I'm going to get to this in just a minute. I do want to talk about this, death cross, because there's something crazy stuff we got to talk about here. But, you know, as you guys can see here, we still do have majority on the major downtrend right here. And this is still the bigger resistance. Now, obviously, the larger time frames are more important long term, right? It's just how it goes. The yearly is more important than the monthly, which is more important than the weekly, more important than the daily, you know how it goes, right? So this is the weekly. Now, if we go back over here and have a look, yes, we are having this bullish cross. Now, what is this telling me? Well, it's telling me that now keep in mind, this is a lagging indicator, okay? So that's the first thing you need to know is that, you know, you're obviously seeing this because we had this major pump. But, you know, if we go back historically, and let me just actually make this even more interesting by switching it to the weeks. Ignore the cross right now. You can see this a lot better. So if you guys see right here, once we got this, what happened? It still went sideways for quite some time, but it was confirmation that the uptrend had begun, right? What about here? Well, we did have that fake out to the downside, but then we had a massive move to the upside. What about right here? Well, we actually went up and then down sideways for a while, but then we still did technically continue to the upside. What happened when we got it right here? Well, we actually had a fake out to the downside. Now, this was actually quite a fall right here. This was a 20% drop, but then we did in fact continue to the upside. So what is this telling me? Well, it's telling me that based on history, and it does not mean that history has to repeat, right? It could rhyme. What it's telling me is that we have, oh yeah, did I do this one back here too? I didn't even go back to this one. There was one back here. I might have done that one. I don't know. But anyway, that one went up as well. So what this is telling me is that we have bullish momentum, right? We have that momentum to the upside. Now, yes, we have seen whales selling, and yes, we have seen some of the money flow coming out, but you know, what you're looking at right now is potential momentum, but it doesn't mean that this is the bull run to end all bull runs. It could mean that we're having, you know, a small, I guess you could say, bull run, right? But are we really in the bull market? See what I'm saying? Bull run versus bull market, right? You know, this was a great bull run right here. This was a great bull run. You could even argue that this was, you could say it was a bull market. Why not? But ultimately, you know, what were we doing? We were still trending down. We were still trending down. You guys see what I'm talking about right here? If I get rid of the indicators, well, I can't get rid of them, but as you guys see right here. So, I mean, even though we had this crazy run up right here, you know, ultimately we were still putting in, you know, lower highs and lower highs. So technically we were still in a downtrend, right? Forming a giant, I guess you could say, asymmetric triangle, right? Now, for my bullish friends out there, to the upside, if we did break out, which we actually technically did break out, you know, this target of the falling wedge brings us to about $57,000 to $58,000. Now, is that what we're going to have for Bitcoin? Well, we do have a lot of overhead resistance right here at, you know, specifically 25,300. I do still believe that it would be possible to get up to this level right here. You know, why couldn't we come up to there, you know, and then end up having a pullback, a big fake out, and then we're still in this major downtrend, or even getting higher than that, right? It's a possibility. I'm going to talk about more on that later. I'm actually going to leave you guys on a cliffhanger. I want to get back to that theory later because it has a lot to do with what the video speaks about and why I'm a little concerned about the markets. But let's have a little look at what we're doing on the short term here because some people are looking to trade. Stick around. You're going to appreciate the content. So I drew this trend line here. It only really has 2 points of contact. You can see right here. So technically, it's very arbitrary, 1, 2, right? But what I am saying is that there is a possibility that even if we fall below this sort of 22,000, we may get bought up. So if you're looking for like a pretty good optimal entry, not financial advice, pretty much 22,220, right around that area, you could see the wick to the downside and still have a fake out because a lot of people would be saying like, oh, we fell below 22.3, right? Which is these wicks down here. So we have to go down to 21, but we may end up putting in a bit of an upwards trend, right? So just keep that in mind. That is a possibility. Obviously, if we do break to the upside, the target again is the bottom of this at around $24,000 even, right? And as you guys know, I pointed out that we appear to be forming what looks to me to be a megaphone pattern, sort of an ascending, broadening wedge pattern, right? Now, unfortunately, these patterns, although they do get higher highs, you know, and higher lows, it's a little bit weaker, you know, right down here. And sometimes we do have that breakdown to the downside. So that's why I still am anticipating that we may, you know, look to fill the CME futures gap at some point. Obviously breaking below that area that I spoke about, then, you know, the next level would be heading back down to around 21,300, and then we would close that. But ultimately, as I've been saying, you know, as long as we can maintain this upwards trend right here, it's fine, which means Bitcoin could go as low as $18,565, which I know everyone would be freaking out, but wouldn't that be the perfect recipe to make the bulls start questioning the narrative again? And then I do believe we can continue to the upside. Now, you may be wondering, is that why I'm cautious? Not exactly. Not exactly, guys. As you can see, the DXY still holding above. You know, we'll make sure that the DXY doesn't fall below this key area. We also have the dollar, though, having quite a big rebound. And you can see that the dollar has actually reclaimed this 50. And you can see right here, generally speaking, there are some fake outs here or there. But generally speaking, when the dollar is above this, as you can see, above this moving average, it tends to stay above it for a long time. Now, we're only just merely testing it. It could be a fake out, but it is something to pay attention to. But here is what we need to talk about. So You guys may be familiar with Stansberry Research, really great channel. Daniela does great interviews over there. She was talking to Harry Dent, who for some reason I always confuse with Harvey Dent from Batman, Two-Face. I wonder if that's like one of those Freudian sort of things. But anyway, so he is sort of really big when it comes to these bubbles and stuff like that, right? And I wanted to sort of play this clip from you because this guy does have a lot of experience in the markets, and he has one of the craziest sort of theories for Bitcoin, right? He thinks that the bottom is not in. In fact, he thinks the bottom is very far from being in. When you hear his prediction, it's crazy. But then at the same time, he's saying that he's not looking to invest in really stocks and gold right now, and that Bitcoin is the future, and Bitcoin could potentially be going to $780,000. But listen to the context of this interview, and I do have some commentary I want to follow up on.
Well, let's get your thoughts on Bitcoin. I mean, it's getting some breathing room and renewed interest here as we start the year.
Yeah, again, same thing. Bitcoin is ahead of stocks and will probably bottom before stocks, maybe late in 2023, where stocks might be mid 2024, because it's kind of the leading sector. It goes up more, it goes down more. It's already been down 70% when stocks were down 34 to 38 on the NASDAQ and 25 to 27 on the S&P. I am predicting that, and I'm just following the same bubbles in Amazon and .coms. I'm telling you the same exact proportions, the bubble and the burst in the .coms is now 22 years later, that crypto will bottom around its late 2018, early 2019 lows around 3,250 to 4,000. So it's still, even at 16,000, down 70%, it will be down 95% if we do the same thing we did with the .coms. So it's not time to buy crypto.
So it's really weird that he keeps calling them companies, kind of get with the lingo, man. Not that it makes him sound uncredible. I'm sure the guy's very credible, but, call them coins and tokens what they are. They're not stocks. They're not companies. Some of them are actually companies. I guess altcoins, you could say, are companies, but Bitcoin is not a company. But anyway, so obviously he's saying don't buy Bitcoin right now, okay? So this is where most people would just turn the interview off. But then he goes in to say this.
Later, but I also advise crypto is the next big thing. The .coms were the next big thing emerging in the late 90s in that bubble. They were small. That's a shakeout, which is necessary, Dan. This is a good thing. You have tons of new entrants, and then you shake them out to the ones that are really strong and have their stuff together. That's what the shakeout's for. That's what happened, back in 2000, 2002. And then you see the real boom, okay? So the best companies will survive. We have 40,000 coins by some count. This is ridiculous. All they are is cheap IPOs. Coins are cheap IPOs. The blockchain technology is real and will emerge after we wipe out all these ridiculous coin companies.
Are there any that
Bitcoin will survive. Ethereum will survive. Most of these companies will not survive.
Again, with the companies thing, okay, we're going to let it slide. So he's talking about the fact that the majority of them won't survive. Now, this is something, just crazy looking at that. This is something that I tweeted, okay? This was a coin that was trending the other day. I'm not kidding. Jizz coin, okay? Haha, I'm sure a lot of people made money on it, on this meme coin. Now, if you have looked historically at the past, okay, and I said right here, typically when we reach meme coin euphoria, it means that greed has reached maximum overdrive. Does this mean that the party could be over soon? Could just be getting started. That's what some people are suggesting, right? Now, Jim Cramer, and I just want to point out, I think there's a lot of opportunities. He says, how many days do we have to endure this AI nonsense? How much more money needs to be lost before it's over? First of all, I don't know what he's talking about because AI coins have been absolutely skyrocketing, and it sounds kind of crazy, and I don't want to give bad financial advice here because if Bitcoin does fall, it's going to pull some of these down. I don't think that this AI stuff is over. You can even see some of the comments down here. What are you talking about? Your credibility is less than zero. How much money do your watchers have to lose before you get off the air? Paige Schiller, the worst trader ever. Take your pick. Kevin Svensson says, Jim, it's not going away. You're going to miss out on the entire AI bull run. Personally, I don't think it's done either. I think that AI is one of those speculative kind of hot topic things, right? Like we had metaverse, we had DeFi. So yes, I think there's lots of opportunities to make money in the DeFi space when it comes to AI, okay? But Jizzcoin, let's get back to this one. what did we notice that happened? And I just want to point this out because some of you weren't around in 2017. And by the way, I'm not done with the interview yet. We're going to get back to our buddy Harry Dent, but I want to just point this out. You could see right here, okay? We had in 2017, this right here was the peak, right? And it's kind of hard to see the altcoins down here, but basically we had this peak right here, and this was in December of 2017. And then this orange line represents the Bitcoin dominance. And if I move this, it's going to get in the way. But you can see how it just fell off a cliff, right? Right here. Boom, it fell. And this took us into January. And what you can see is, and this silver line above me is Ethereum. It's kind of hard. And then the other altcoins and stuff like that. So basically what you saw was you saw a massive decline in Bitcoin dominance and an increase in altcoin dominance. So Bitcoin had its massive surge and then it started to trickle back. But then in January, we saw altcoins go to ungodly levels, literally prices we still haven't seen for some of them today, right? And it was that sort of rush to just throw your money at anything, right? And when I see this trending, it worries me a little bit because, maybe we haven't necessarily washed everything out, just yet. And, getting back to this right here, and like I said, we're going to get back to that interview. But like Ali pointed out, in December of 2018, we hit a low of around 3K before rising 75% in the following months to hit 5.5 in April. Bitcoin then consolidated for 4 weeks before rising 150% to peak at 14K in June. When looking at the NUPL, which is the net unrealized profit loss, he says it appears that Bitcoin is consolidating like it did back in April of 2019, right? So June, July, April, May, June, right in here. So the point that I'm trying to make is, as you can see right here, we did continue on this bull, right? But we peaked out at 14 and we never got as high as we did. And then it took us from literally, basically you're talking an entire year of back down again with lots of fake outs. And that's the situation that I'm concerned that we might be in right now. This doesn't mean that we're not in for that bull. Remember in yesterday's video, Chamath Palihapitiya, he was talking about how he thought for the next 3 months we could see the max pain being up. I don't disagree with that possibility. I think we could continue to pump to the upside, get everyone to FOMO in. A lot of people are like, this is it, fake out, bull trap. No, I think it could go a little bit more. But I think we also could be looking at a scenario where we then go down. Like for example, we go up for 6 to 9 months, and then we go down and sideways for another year, leading into the 2024 halving, where then Bitcoin starts the massive run. That's all I'm saying. It's really neither. It's not really bullish or bearish. It's actually short-term bullish, mid-term bearish, long-term bullish, I guess, if I had to sort of quantify ultimately what's going on. And, that still puts the possibility of us, coming up to this sort of $28,000 to $33,000 level. But again, look what we did back here, right? We had this, we had this bear, came down, massive bull. Everybody thought it was back on. And then we consolidated down again. Now, look, even if you take out COVID, right? Let's just erase it. I'm going to scribble COVID out, right? Right here. Just scribble all that out. Scribble all that out, right? What were we doing? Look at this. We were forming a parabola, right? So if you just ignore that, you can see that Bitcoin came up, came back down, and then what it really wanted to do was consolidate back again, right? So what I'm sort of worried about is that we see something similar where we have that crazy run up, and then it just does that, thing again. Now, this doesn't mean that we're going to go down to some of these crazy low levels, but it does mean that, we could then have that sort of mini rally within the rally. So I just want to let you guys know that that is a strong possibility. In fact, when you look at, the bear market, Yano had a pretty good point. And, there's sort of a few stages to the bear market. Stage one was the unwind of the excitement, right? Where you start coming down, everybody's like, still excited, but in sort of like, can't believe that the prices are falling. And then you have the forced capitulation. Those are the really ugly stages, the FTX collapses, all that. And then you have the final stage, which is that boring stage. And personally, I don't think it really got boring enough, in my opinion. We only really had that sideways chop for like a month or so. And then all of a sudden off to the races, right? Now, we knew that there was a chance for that pop. It just seems a little bit quick for me. And as we look historically, when we had those incredibly fast recoveries, what ended up happening? Well, 6 to 9 months down the road, we sort of came back down to the norm again, right? But I do want to get back to this video and continue on with what Harry was talking about.
So if you were to, place a bet on some of these, what would you be looking to buy?
I would be looking to buy the leaders, Bitcoin, Ethereum, companies like that at the bottom. And I'm not looking for a bottom until we retest those lows in late 2019. That's also an Elliott wave count. That was simply a huge bubble. It was simply the fourth wave correction before the fifth wave final bubble. All we're doing, and this happens in bubbles. I've now studied since these bubbles came, all bubbles in history. Bubbles basically go back to where they started. They bubble up way beyond the fundamentals, crazy, and then they go back to where they started. That is 3,250 to 4,300 on Bitcoin. That's where it should go.
Now, is Bitcoin actually going to go down to the $3,000 area? I don't really know about that personally because we've already had 2 touches on that level. So you could argue that we've already had a major double bottom down in the 3,000s. We had it when we capitulated in 2018, and we also had it during the COVID crash. So I'm of the belief that we do not go down to 3,000. That's my opinion. I could be wrong. I still stand that the 13.8K level was very important. I could see a possible retest of that. But anyway, let's continue.
It literally, the projections also tracking the dot-com bubble before the real boom. Bitcoin could go to 500,000 to 1 million. My actual target right now today is the next boom will take it to a peak of 780,000.
You're talking bubbles, and anytime someone mentions bubbles, I just keep going back to that quote of when Jim Rogers was on, and he told me, there's 2 kinds of people who get burned in bubbles, skeptics and believers. And the other day, I was reflecting on that, and I was like, well, who are you better off being if you had to choose? Would you be better off being the believer because at least you took the risk and could make a lot of money? Could you make that argument?
It's actually a good point because if you think about it, even if the long-term bears are correct right now, and we do go down, how can you not say that this was an amazing opportunity to trade with this crazy move? And even if we do end up going to the downside, the amount of opportunity for accumulation, trading, versus just sitting on a pile of cash and just waiting. I mean, you're literally missing a move here. So, I would rather be partial speculator, but, also maybe have some money on the side, of course, but I wouldn't want to just be sitting on my hands the whole time.
The point is, though, all those new companies can't make it. You have to shake them out. So this shakeout stage, which we're in and we'll be in for a few years, is important also. So you have to buy the winners at the bottom. And I'm going to tell you, Bitcoin's going to survive this. Ethereum, many companies, there might be 10 or 12 really solid companies that are going to survive this thing and have an incredible boom for the next 15 years. And that's what the dot-coms did. But most of those dot-coms, remember how many dot-coms there were? There was a dot-com for every name in retail possible, dog.com, cat.com, whatever. And they all went under except the best ones. And the best ones then changed the economy. We're all online now. I mean, it's a giant industry now. So This is the way the economy works. There's nothing wrong with it. When people say this can't happen or not, they haven't studied history. I'm just looking at exactly what happened in the last bubble. And this has now clearly been a bubble of similar magnitude. Why would you expect anything else other than a 95% crash? Because that's what happened last time, including the leaders like Amazon.
So are we actually due for a 90 to 95% drawdown for Bitcoin? Not 100% sure that the bears are going to get that type of price action. It's possible. Anything is possible. I don't think that's going to happen. For example, we did think that this wick down here was the bottom. I did think that this was the bottom. I was wrong. I called the bottom at 17.6. We went down to 15.3 thus far. Okay, fine. But for the most part, I mean, if you bought at 17 or you bought at 15, are you happy now? You see what I'm saying? So, no one's going to perfectly time the bottom. I'm not perfect. I don't claim to be perfect. I do think that Bitcoin could potentially rally. Max Payne would be up at this point, because if you think about it, we've been going down for how long? Everyone is in this terrible mindset of bear market. Everybody's shorting. Everyone's sitting in cash right now. And I've heard that it's worse to miss out than it is to actually lose money. So like if you lose money or everybody's losing money, it's kind of like, okay, we all lost money. But I heard that it's a lot worse to feel to have the fear of missing out, right? To see other people making money while you're just sitting there in cash. So I think that at some point, you know, you're going to see that FOMO where finally the bears capitulate and then they're like, you know what, I'm just going in at this point. And I think that's the point where then we'll have that correction. So I still don't personally think, I could be wrong, guys. I could be wrong. I don't think that we're like at the beginning of the massive bull run. I think, like I said, if anything, it's closer to this, where we have like a little mid bull run inside of a massive bull run, you know? So I still do think that this move, I believe, is going to end in a lower high. I do. I don't believe that this move is going to take us above 70,000 before having a correction. I don't, personally, from history. And also, that just wouldn't make any sense. But I do believe that it's going to provide an amazing opportunity for trading and an amazing opportunity for accumulation. And I still do think that we are going to see Bitcoin leading into the halving. You know, basically just get through this year. Just get through 2023. Do whatever you have to hold some cash on the side, to dollar cost average Bitcoin. You can do some trading in the middle. I believe that every single thing you're doing, whether the price goes down to 3, which I don't think it's going to, or goes up to 40, which is a possibility, right? I believe that we are going to laugh at everything happening within this price range come late 2024, early 2025. So I don't know if waiting 2 more years is too much for you guys. I don't know if that's like just too long to wait. For me, I believe that patience is the key, and everything that you do now leading into that moment is going to separate the heroes and the legends from, you know, those who are going to be complaining that they missed the boat yet again. So we will be monitoring this, taking advantage of this. I just wanted to give you a very balanced perspective, because it's like you either have to be super bullish or super bearish. Why? Why can't you just look at the charts and see what they're doing in the meantime? We knew that down at these levels, we needed to be bullish. We knew that all the signals were pointing towards a bull. Right? Now we're starting to see things point towards caution, right? So we may need to start looking to, you know, protect our capital at these levels. Long term doesn't matter. Dollar cost average, you'll be fine if you believe in Bitcoin. Short term though, you know, you have to see how these levels play out. So anyway, a little bit of a rant at the end. Who knows what I'm talking about at this point, guys? You know, too many cups of coffee today, right? Everyone's like, what do you want, K-Dub? What do you want? Well, I had a little shot of espresso. So that being said, you guys rock. The reason that I make these videos, I love you. You're awesome. To everyone who's been subscribing all these years, I can't believe you literally just watch me, a guy on the internet, just ramble on YouTube. But we've had some amazing times. We've had some amazing calls. We've made a lot of money. We've made a lot of mistakes. We grow together as a community, and I do love you guys. And I hope that a lot of you watching are going to be here in that 2025 bull run, because I mean, hey, $780,000 Bitcoin. I don't know about that, but I sure want to be positioned if that is the case. So thanks again for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I make these videos. Remember, if you do want to learn how to trade, make sure that you take advantage of these tutorials popping up right here, right now. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.